Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats, please. We're starting. Mr. Bob Dugers is here. And everybody else at the door. Have a seat, please. Setz dich machen. Bill, Bob, we're trying to get started over here. Have a seat. Do something.
Have a seat. Don't stand between yapping and flapping your jaws.
Thank you.
Bob the Soy is here.
I know, it's like herding cats with hot butter. Herding cats with hot butter? That's supposed to be funny. Stuffing a cat's butt with hot butter.
You robbed with that one.
I know. So, thank you.
You bombed.
You look good.
Duh. Let me just give you the second half here. We got Hal Robbins, Cesar Love, Stephanie Manning, Mark Harps, Greg Pond, Garrett Murphy, Stephen Coppell, I think still. And then we have others, and we have David Erbelich as our mini. So we got a kick butt thing here going on. All right. So, Mr. Hal Robbins, would you kindly step forth?
Yay! Yay! Mr. Robbins!
They used to call him Dr. Robbins. He didn't like that. All right.
Well, I want to thank everyone who stayed for the second half, for this extraordinarily important recitation. When I was in Arizona recently, I found in my host's library a volume of Belloc's poems, the first edition from 1941. And some of these are truly delightful, including this one, which is called Jim, who ran away from his nurse and was eaten by a lion. There was a boy whose name was Jim. His friends were very kind to him. They gave him tea and cakes and jam and slices of delicious ham and chocolates with pink inside and little tricycles to ride. They read him stories through and through and even took him to the zoo. But there it was, the dreadful fate befell him, which I now relate. You know, or at least you ought to know, for I have often told you so, that children never are allowed to leave their nurses in a crowd. Now this was Jim's especial foible. He ran away when he was able, and on this inauspicious day, he slipped his hand and ran away. He hadn't gone a yard when, bang, with open jaws, a lion sprang, and gradually began to eat the boy, beginning at his feet. Now just imagine how it feels when first your toes, and then your heels, and gradually by slow degrees, your ankles, shins, and calves, and knees are slowly eaten bit by bit. No wonder Jim detested it. No wonder that he shouted, "Hi!" The honest keeper heard his cry. Though very fat, he almost ran to help the little gentleman. "Ponto!" he ordered as he came, for Ponto was the lion's name. "Ponto!" he shouted with a frown. "Let it go, sir. Down, sir. Put it down." The lion made a sudden stop. He let the dainty morsel drop and slunk reluctant to his cage, snarling with disappointed rage. But when he bent him over Jim, the honest keeper's eyes grew dim. The lion having reached his head, the miserable boy was dead. When nurse informed his parents, they were more concerned than I can say. His mother, as she dried her eyes, said, Well, this brings me no surprise. He would not do as he was told. His father, who was self-controlled, bade all the children round attend to James's miserable end, and always to keep hold of nurse for fear of finding something worse.
All right, Al Robbins.
That's me. That was wonderful.
Thank you. All right. Now we have Cesar Love, one of the other editors of the Haight-Ashbury Literary Journal. Come on up here, Cesar. Then we got Stephanie, Mark, Gray, Garrett, Stephen, David, and Long Wow.
Thank you.
31. The last afternoon of the year offered no cloudburst. The sky spitefully remained the color of wet cardboard. The sky spitefully wept on all the wrapping paper. That year, venomous weather felled the trees. That year, venomous weather left stumps the height of small man. The last evening of the year offered no sunset. Weary daylight left its burden to the weary streetlights. We knotted boxes with great trying. We left our burdens on the sidewalk, blocking our way and everyone else's. The hours. A minute hand ticks the full dial. It crosses the 3, the 6, the 9, the 12, while the hour hand is frozen. This day will not finish. This day will not begin. This morning will not finish. This morning will not begin. Water boils. Trains are late to depart. Ships have yet to arrive. I wait. I wait for the phone. I wait for the letter. I wait for a number. Water boils. The clock on my wall continues to tick. A sound of flea bites, and to tick, a sound of scratches, and to tick, a sound of scabs, and to tick. I wait. I wait for the call. I wait for the mail. I wait for a bell. How I crave the deep timber of talk, where mammoth bells rhyme with the hours. Elephant feet pulse with the earth. Shadows of mountains toll in the day. Starling's Eve. Before the departure, the starlings perform a bleak festival. Above the plaza for the wretched, black and gold birds whirl in the evening sky. Below them, addicts prop against Doric columns. Psychotics spew their radioactive herbs. Maimed workers limp their way home. The starlings deliver one final air show, the chorus of dive bombers. One final song, a symphony of shards. High on a gnarled branch, between the brittle trees, a weathered nest protects its young, its lacings frail and fastened. A house is never more a home than the morning before the sheriff. The sky is never a deeper blue than the evening before the bombs. The trees grasp and we grasp. A lover will leave, a parent will die. That letter, tendered on a forever stamp, will never receive a reply. Unloved birds perform their circus. Amidst crumbling leaves, this homeless man watches the air show. A cold wind steals my cart.
Yes. Stephanie, then Mark, then Greg, then Garrett, then Steve.
More. Pat.
So Stephanie, would you kindly come
No,
forward?
I'm more, I'm,
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I put you in because you came, sorry.
okay.
Mark!
Okay.
Mark, then Greg, then Garrett, then David, because of updates that we know we love and enjoy. So bring him up with a bit of applause, as he is used to this thing. He does this all the time.
Thanks a lot.
For those of you what the Monica Man is,
Thank you. That gave me time to get my stuff together, which is still not together, but if it ever was, you wouldn't recognize it. So there. So anyway, what this is together says, what is really behind the new, same old U.S. war? And of course, it is the urge for going, which is an old Tom Rush song, but it's also a play that this woman stars in. And I'm going to say again, what is really behind the new U.S. war? The urge for going. Now, the reason I can't put it down and get it together is because I had decided to, since my amplifier is no longer working for many months now, to be acoustic, and I have in here a, which I won't pull out, but I will pull out the harmonicas that are inside. I decided to make an acoustic microphone, which I did, which is a piece of cardboard, circular in shape, and old circulars or blueprints back in the days of dinosaurs. I will not pull out the harmonicas because it's going to take the whole 5 minutes that I've almost wasted already, like I almost always do.
What an improviser.
Yeah, I'm really something else. I
Cool.
segue like I'm a motherfucker. Or a father fucker. Let's start saying father fucker. Speaking of the word fucking all the time as a descriptive form of when one loses the ability to express oneself in an erudite fashion. What? Who said? Who the hell said that?
Well, the
I'm
word
less
is,
surprised to flying fuck out of myself.
the word is an adjective, noun, verb,
Well,
adverb. It's
well,
all
thank
of
you
them.
deliberately.
Just for you.
what the fuck?
I thank you from the depths of my delirium. I found out what John F. Kennedy's favorite poem is, so I will now read that if I brought it up here at all. Is this it, man? I'm fired. That's it. That's it. It's just, only so much fucking around I can handle.
Come back, little
Of course,
Sheba.
I'm missing a lens, so I'll scratch my eye. And I'll close one eye, and I'll really give you a show here. Of course, I have every other poem marked but that one, so apparently you'll have to wait till next time when I'll fuck up again. Sure I will. I can't find it, but the title, I know the title, and
It's live TV, folks. Live TV.
who gives a fuck about TV, the computer. You know what, I could care less that people are watching me like, oh, I'll come running down there because Marco Harps is saying nothing and,
Hey, we have one viewer.
What is it? I don't care, see? I suffer from I don't care-itis. So this is a great book, see? It's really nice. It's an old book when books were made nicely. Good for
What's
you.
the name of the book?
It is 101 famous poems. I think it was part of one of our dearly departed here.
Does it have a table of malcontents?
Yes, it does. And I have my stuff on it at the moment. Well, you know what, since I can't find that particular poem, and reading with one eye is even beyond my pay scale,
Harmonica!
save my life once in a while.
Harmonica.
So I'm riding on the Muni bus, see? I'm riding along, holding the strap hanging, right? So lately, last few months, instead of grumbling and mumbling and stumbling, I've been telling jokes to people. Doing kind things just for the hell of it because they needed to be done. And lo and behold, things are going much better in my life. Isn't it funny how when you do something good, in a habitual fashion, things actually might come back to you. Instantly come. This has been yet another public service announcement. Harmonicas are out of tone. By the time I get to anything, it'll be June.
Wrong key.
I don't
That was the
care.
right key, actually.
I have the back door key, but the back doors have to jump a fence to get
Oh, a
to.
backdoor man.
We both like a single.
have A Rendezvous with Death as the title of the poem. I don't know who wrote it, but it is John F. Kennedy's, was, and probably still is, his favorite poem. So down the line sometime. While I'm playing this, think of the John Prine song, Hello in There, if you're familiar with it. And if you're not, giggle and then Google it, you high-tech father fuckers, you. Thank you so much.
Thank you blindly. Too long, wait too long. Thank you blindly.
May your indigestion be constant and forevermore.
May the bird of paradise fly up your nose.
And may
The elephant caress you with his toes. Thank you, Mark.
and a curmudgeonly camel.
Mr. Gray Pond happens to be next. Give the man his air to the flowers.
I'm not out of here yet. You're not done yet. I'm not done yet.
I thought you were.
When I get my shit out of here, then I'll be done.
Don't worry
What?
about that. We'll give you time.
Oh, really? Wow, such a giving guy.
I do my best.
You're giving me a hard time as usual.
Hey, give Louise a
All I do
squeeze.
is give you a hard time constantly. That's all part of the act, and that's the fact. One day we'll get paid for getting laid, Me and the
That's a Democrat.
Dream on, dream on.
Any school teachers of mine is a school teacher that was a gigolo. And if you don't know what that means,
We know what it means.
you don't know about the principle and the indebtedness of the debtor and the debtor's prison. Hey, Greg Pond, saved my life. Greg
Good evening.
What do they
Thanks
want?
for staying. I've read this before, but I think it's appropriate for this time of year. It's a bit of a downer, it's a little long, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. It's entitled Lover in the Car. And it was actually based on a true story. Left in the car, following the long, winding ride, where the lovers of gay brothers wait because we're not allowed inside. Muster the greatest effort to save face while killing time, as I look in from outside my lover's family's lives. Seated in the car, feeling sweat slide down my spine. Promise to take the high road and not complain or whine, but this odd creature treatment leaves me deaf, dumb, and blind. As eyes spy from the kitchen window to glimpse the creep in the passenger seat of their brother's rented ride. Arrived in the car, approaching Christmas Day. Mouth too dry, too chilly to smile, trying not to act too gay. 40 minutes seem like hours, too long to wait a while. The numbers on the clock move slowly as hands out of pockets, braving cold to change radio dial. Waited in the car, watching ornaments and lights, evergreens decked for display. But parked across the street and left off the page sits the Pagliacci clown, the San Francisco freak, an out-of-town performer stranded on an empty stage. Huddled in the car, hearing cheers and holiday chimes, all the things I missed at home. Wishing I was in a place where December carols are sung in rounds, not hummed in a winter car alone. Garland, tinsel, and front door wreaths, frost-covered windows and chestnut heat. All around, festive sights and sounds remain a frozen arm's length away from me. Abandoned in the car, with a dead cell phone. No one to call, nothing to do at all. No one even tosses a bone. The nativities glow as the sun goes down, while they roll up the streets in this one-horse town. So Christian soldiers can march tall and proud, believing they're disciples of Jesus, just because they draw a crowd. Stuck in the car, sitting, steaming, shivering with cold, so close to Kwanzaa, so far from home, because here season's greetings only extend to straight couples, children, and selected friends, to born-again church folk or heterosexual kin, but not to those whose wrists are bent or who act like women but look like men. Company in the car, lover back at my side, who didn't want to visit without me, though I told him I'd be fine. Still I could see the pain in his face and count the tears in his eyes when the prodigal son was welcomed home while his lover waited outside. Headed in the car to catch the next airline flight, getting the hell out of Dodge post-haste to spend a Merry Christmas night with family and friends who value my worth, who wish peace and goodwill to all on earth, who don't believe some are blessed while others cursed, especially at this time of year. Though my lover's folks made it very clear, they've got crosses heavier than me to bear, and I just wish I still didn't care so much.
Greg's issue for the native.
Yes, yeah, it is in.
How's it in there, plus also.
Yeah, thank you.
Right there.
Yeah, I had that here the other week, remember, and I read one of Greg Bond's poems.
Just a slight change in plans here. We have Garrett Murphy. I don't know, is Bob still here back there?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Are you going to read?
No.
Okay, just want to make sure you're all right.
Thank you.
All right, so we got Garrett, then David, then Karen. And if there's anybody else, they should flag me up or down. So Mr. Garrett Murphy, come on up here, please.
Hey, Garrett.
Give me a nice warm round.
He has the silver and gold tongue.
Garrett, are you speaking again tomorrow night?
Yes, I'll be
For the readers.
co-featuring at Fort Mason.
Yeah.
Readers Theater.
Readers Cafe with, or Readers Bookstore with Lateef Harrison, who unfortunately I have no information on.
What time?
6:30.
There we go. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
And in part because I'm prioritizing that. And I'll be reading just one piece tonight. For the holiday season, sorry Megan, but there are many types of Santa Clauses. Megan, 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 you are just so wrong. You have been deceived with an affliction common to perpetrators, oppressors, and many others who benefited too much from an idea that was archaic before it was new. You do not believe except in your own hubris. You think in your corrupt little world that no one who is not of the same culture as yourself can be or have possibly produced anyone or anything of consequence, importance, or note. But all cultures, Megan, be they the same as or different from yours, are of consequence, importance, and note. In this unique miracle called life itself, each is but a fraction of the whole of the phenomenon. In short, no one culture can claim to be all. Yes, Megan, there can be in our many types of Santa Clauses. Be they man or woman or otherwise, Santa exists as much as the concepts of gods, goddesses, deities, and more, in service of generosity, devotion, and the most powerful force of all, love, and by extension, self-love. Such is a basis and foundation for beauty and joy in one's soul. Alas, how dreary it would be to be informed with impunity that you and your own are of no consequence, importance, or note. As horrible as being informed that one is consisted of flawed genes, or that one is somehow foreign simply because one is not of a nation's dominant culture. Familiar is it not, Megan, only on the other side for a change? Only one Santa Claus? Might as well believe there is only one legitimate language. religion, hue, creed, or family type. But then you and yours tend to think that anyway. You might get your colleagues from the backpack of foxes or treacle party to try to pry into everyone's head if they believe such folderol, that your definition of Santa Claus is the only true one. But even if most or even all of those you asked said yes, what would that prove? If you look closely enough, you would find that even among those of the same group or dominant culture, that there are quite a few differences in their interpretations of Santa Claus, practically as many as the number of persons you ask. You may try to pound into the head of a child of color the delusion that Santa Claus can only be perpetrated by the standards of your culture, just as for years men have tried to pound into the heads of women that they are of the inferior sex. But not even the strongest or most forceful coercion into self-hatred can completely eliminate the need to feel of importance, of note, and of consequence. And that is to say nothing of the most powerful force of all, love, and by extension, self-love and self-pride. Megan, all your efforts to change the imagination of self, you most normally are doomed to failure. Only one Santa Claus? How absurd. As long as one can perceive a Santa Claus, there will be Santas of all types, black Santas, white Santas, red, yellow, brown, and all others, men, women, children, fat, thin, tall, short, bearded or not, and quite likely even a few with chicken pox. Years from now, Megan, and beyond that as well, Santa Claus will continue to be interpreted in many of all the many descriptions possible, by this or by any and all other means, which for Megan is truly a holiday miracle.
All right. And now David Erdogan has popped up. He is our Minnie for the evening. Give him a nice little round of applause. Minnie!
Thank you.
And after him we have Karen, and then another one for Mark here, because you reminded me that we're going to do something special, so we'll take care of that at the end. Let me take your prizes. You're on. Long live.
Jamie DiAngelo was born and grew up in Spain and went to Johns Hopkins. And in the 1930s, he lived for 40 years with the Pit River Indians and drew also from Karak, Pomo, and Miwok tales to write Indian Tales in 1953. This is the second edition, 1957. You will be damn hard-pressed to find this book. I'll start on page 55. My mother read this to me. It's funny, I can't remember, but I have read this to my children, and it's in the form of a trek, of a journey, so a la Chaucer. But anyhow, so I'm starting in the middle. I may read, if you like it, I may come back and read more of it other times. So, and now they were traveling along the trail again. Sometimes it went through the woods, and again it went through a patch of thick brush. The hills became real mountains, and the trail wound in and out of canyons, sometimes under big trees, sometimes through chaparral. Finally they came to a good place to camp, a little round valley with thick grass and a brook running through it. The sun was still high, but they were so tired that they decided to stop and make camp and have a good rest. The next morning, Coyote Old Man, who had decided to go along with them, said, "We ought to stay here today. This is a nice place." "But we have so far to go," Bear said. "We'll never get there at this rate." "You'll never get anywhere. You're in too much of a hurry." Antelope said, "Yes, that's right. We ought to stay here today. Our dried venison is getting low. We ought to stop here, and you and Fox can go hunting, maybe get a deer. This should be good deer country. I'll dry the venison. Grandfather will cut up the meat, and I'll dry it over the fire." "That's right," cried Fox. "Let's go hunting. I'll practice with my new spear." So they both went each his own way. "You go west and I'll go east," Bear said, "and we'll both come back through the north. That way we'll drive the deer toward each other." Antelope cried after them, "Don't get lost again." "Of course I won't," Fox shouted back. "I'm a hunter, and anyhow, I have my magic flints with me." Fox was stealing through the brush and chaparral, creeping around carefully, not making any noise, the way a good hunter does. He saw a big buck standing behind a tree. Fox could just see his rump through the brush. The big buck must be eating something on the ground because Fox couldn't see his head. But what a rump! Must be an elk! Little Fox poises his spear in his hand carefully. He leans back way down almost until his hand touches the ground. He straightens up like a catapult and hurls the spear. Oops. Sorry. He hits the mark, and a grizzly bear stands up with a roar. Fox jumped 2 feet in the air. Why, Father, what are you doing here? I thought you were on the east side. The grizzly bear shouted, what's the idea of throwing a spear at me, and I'm not your father? Fox was bewildered. You are my father. Of course you are my father. I'm sorry I threw that spear at you because I thought you were an elk. But you are my father just the same. I say I'm not your father. What's the matter with you? Don't you know your own father? Just then, a little girl came tripping up. She was just about the size of Fox, and she was very pretty, with a little skirt of fibers, some black and others orange. She spoke to the grizzly bear. What's the matter, Father? That boy threw a spear at me and calls me father. I think he's crazy. Fox looked at the little girl with great interest. She said to him, you must not throw spears at people. It's not nice. And he is not your father. He's my father. Fox stamped his foot. He's my father. The little girl smiled at him and shook her head. No, he is not your father. I repeat, he is my father. I think you are crazy, little boy, and you must not stamp your foot. It isn't nice. We don't allow people to stamp their foot in these mountains or throw spears at people and call strangers father. Fox said, what's your name? My name is Oriole. What's yours? I'm Fox, and my father is Bear, and my mother is Antelope, and my little sister is Quail, and Grandfather Coyote has joined us. The little girl interrupted. That's all very interesting. Quite a family. Are you sure you're not crazy? As for me, I have no mother, only my father here. He's not your father. He's my father. There he goes again, said Grizzly Bear. Another fit, plumb crazy. Fox cried, it's you who are crazy, or maybe you were playing a joke on me, Father, but you were carrying it too far. Grizzly Bear said, wait a minute. You say your people are camped down below? Fox Boy was getting mad. He cried, why, you know perfectly well where we are camped. You left me only a little while ago and you said, you hunt on the west side and I'll take the east side. And we went each our way, and now you jump at me and say you are not my father. What kind of a joke is that? Oriole Girl interrupted him. Father, maybe that little boy is not crazy after all. Maybe he really has people camped down there. We ought to go and investigate. He says his mother is Antelope. What's an antelope? Oh, it's some kind of people like the deer. They live down in the valleys down there in the country where I was born. At least that's what I've been told. Fox drew himself up. Antelope is my mother, and she is very beautiful. Oriole Girl said, yes, it must be fun to have a mother. Father, let's go down there and investigate. All right, if this crazy boy will show the way. So they started. And what about that spear you threw at me? Are you going to leave it here? Oh, that's right. Fox went back and picked up his spear. They started down the trail, Fox first carrying his spear, then the Oriole Girl, then the Grizzly Bear. Oriole said, that's not the proper way to carry your spear, little boy. Don't call me a little boy, shouted Fox. And if you want my spear, I'll give it to you, and you can show me how to carry it. Ha 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 ha! Grizzly Bear roared with laughter. They went down and down the trail and arrived at the camp. Antelope was there alone, weaving a basket. She said, well, did you get a deer? And who is that little girl? No, we didn't get a deer, and that boy threw a spear at me, and that little girl is my daughter, and who are you? Antelope dropped her basket in her astonishment. Who am I, you ask? And you say that little girl is your daughter. What's the matter with you? Are you crazy? Fox cried. And he says he's not my father. The Grizzly Bear said to Antelope, maybe you also are crazy like the little boy. Do you throw spears at people and call them father? I don't throw spears at anyone or anything, and I don't call you father, but husband. And I haven't any children hidden around. How long have you been hiding that child? And why didn't you tell me before? Plumb crazy, said the Grizzly Bear, shaking his head, just like the little boy who threw a spear at me. Listen, I am not your husband. I never saw you before. And who is that old man coming there? Is he also going to throw a spear at me and call us his father, or his husband, or his wife, maybe? Oh, I know that old man. He's Grandfather Coyote. And just at that moment, the other bear arrived, carrying a deer on his shoulders. Both children ran to him, calling, Father! Hello, said Bear. Then he went and dropped his load in front of the campfire. Then he looked for a long time at the other bear. Then he sat down on a log and started to laugh and laugh. The other bear said, one more crazy one. Grandfather Coyote, who are these crazy people? Antelope was looking from one bear to the other in utter bewilderment. Which is which, she murmured. Bear was laughing so hard that he couldn't speak for a moment. Finally said, I'll tell you. This man is my twin brother. At least I think he is. I've been thinking about it ever since we met that chipmunk back there. You remember how he spoke about a big man who lived all alone in these mountains with his daughter, and he looked like me? Well, you see, you know how among our people they don't like twins, and they always get rid of one of them somehow or other. We were twins, and they gave my brother away. My mother told me about it when I was a little boy. They gave him away to some relatives who lived a long way off with some other tribe. That's right, said Grizzly Bear. They told me the same thing when I was a little boy. Then when I grew up, I forgot all about it. So you're my brother. Well. Now, they all went to work cutting up the deer to make it into jerky and dry it by the fire and in the sun. They spent the whole afternoon cutting the meat with knives of obsidian flint. Fox and Oriole were helping too, but everybody kept getting the bears mixed up. The two bears themselves were the only ones who did not get confused. They each knew which was which. Finally, Antelope said, "This won't do. I must be able to tell you two apart. Otherwise, I'm likely to think the wrong one is my husband." "I know a way," Oriole said. "My father bear can wear a string of beads around his neck. Then I can tell which is my uncle bear." "That's a bright girl," said Coyote Old Man. And reaching into his sack, he brought out a string of warrior beads, a warrior's necklace. Thank you, grandfather," said Grizzly Bear. His brother grumbled, "You were always the lucky one." "All right," said Grizzly, "if you're not satisfied, we can trade. You can take these beads and I'll take your wife." "That's all right, brother. You keep the beads. They look too nice on you. I won't deprive you of them." They had not finished cutting up all the meat from the deer and drying it, so the next day they stayed in the same camp. Fox Boy and Oriole Girl got tired of cutting up meat and cutting up meat and cutting up meat, so they went off to play. "I'll show you how to throw a spear," said Fox. "See that stump? It's a deer." He threw his spear and missed the stump by a couple of feet. "Not bad for a little boy," Oriole said. "You'll learn with practice." "Well, you throw it then, you great big woman." Fox did not know all these mountaineers were adept with a spear. Oriole took it, poised herself through it, and the spear stuck into the stump, quivering. "Deer, shot right through the heart. That's the way we do it," Oriole shouted. Fox whistled in admiration. "Say, you are good at it, girl." "Sure I am. I've been throwing spears since I was a baby." "I bet you couldn't use bow and arrows." "Bet you I could. Let me have your bow and arrows and I'll show you." "I haven't a bow and arrows. I lost mine, but I think Father will let me borrow his." So they went back to the camp. "Hi, Kai! May I borrow your bow and arrows?" "All right, but take only one arrow. You're always losing them." But that was a strong, stiff bow of theirs, and strong, stiff bow of theirs, and Foxboy was not able to string it. He tried and tried, but he could not bend it enough to slip the loop of the bowstring over the end of the bow. Oriole helped him, and by both of them pulling hard, they finally managed to string the bow. Now, Fox was fairly good with that kind of tool, and he hit close to the target, but it was new to Oriole. In fact, she could not shoot at all. She did not know how to keep the knock of the arrow in the string, and when she pulled and let the arrow fly, boom, it simply fell at her feet, and the bowstring hit her, boing, a smart blow on the wrist. So the children practiced all day. Oriole showed Fox how to hold the spear properly balanced and how to bend his body backward and sweep the arm in a circle and let go of the spear at the proper moment. Anyhow, your spear isn't fixed properly. You should have a thong tied to the middle of the spear and swing the spear by the thong like a handle. I'll ask my father to fix it. So Grizzly Bear fixed it, and now Fox could throw the spear much farther, but it still went far off the target. And Oriole finally learned to hold the knock of the arrow in the string properly, and when the arrow finally went, bang! It hit Grizzly square when he was bending to turn the jerky over. What a life! First they throw spears at you, and then they shoot you full of arrows.
Thank you, David. All right. Now we have Karen, Melander, Magoon, and Mark coming back up here to do a quick thingy, and then we'll take care of the prizes. Let me,
I didn't realize how short I was.
allow my assistants.
Okay. Thank you. Does that work? Okay. If I have time, I'll do an outcry for Fayyad at the end, but we'll see. There is there is so much to talk about right now with refugees and with poets being condemned to death, and we've got Christmas too, so, you know. There is no comedy. Jesus walks, Gandhi walks, crowds crush them. The homeless make their beds on cardboard in the streets of Greece. with all the refugees of Syria escaping Western wars. They sleep next to the crowds crushing the prophets. Jesus walks on the waters of the beautiful Mediterranean Sea over the sinking boats of immigrants. He reaches his hands out for the drowning refugees. They become the nameless, smuggled families in closed vans suffocating, while two small children dance upon the water, brushing the hands of Jesus with broken dandelions as the sun sets, spilling gold across the sea. Touch me with language. Touch me with words, wording, spelling, speaking, talking, tongues, longing in words, belonging in words, in speech, floating in dancing, in churning in words, birds, chatter, whistle, communicate, prevaricate. Perhaps a bird prevaricates or variously tells stories to nesting offspring, taking wing as we take wing on words. Touch me with language, mine, yours, ancient, modern, future, thoughts, ideas, poetry, plays, play on words, narration, any language, music tells a line, a story, a dance, an emotion needing no translation without words, speaks in passion, lyricism, romanticism, songs without words, communicating lines, chords, dissonance, structure, culture, cultures of yeast, speak, bread, break bread, communion, union. Touch me with culture, music, art, language, right to speak, to protest, right to be wrong, right to be right, right to identity, identify, entity of one or families, right to meet, to breathe, to eat one's words, in company, separate and speak in letters, electric waves, radios, transmission. Elephants communicate thoughts over miles, smiles, ages engage, language, brains, language. Touch me with drums, to code, to fire dances, fire signs, light emissions, songs with words, songs with rhythm conveying thought, passion, wordless language, explosive language, language of a universe of sense, pensive, volcanic, anger, water, air, blowing, screaming, crying, lullabies of language. Touch me with lullabies, right to teach, to love in language, right to count, to calculate, enumerate, accelerate, exaggerate, illuminate, discover, cover, brother, lover, hover over just another thought, idea, expression, fraught with tension, lesson, fought with language, not with weapons, not with bullets, ammunition, bombs, misunderstandings. Words can heal, language can heal. Touch me with language. Words. Was there a time of no words? No need to translate? Silence speaking nuances of thought, love touching, loss, weeping, pain, writhing, eyes absorbing, reflecting colors, feelings, tears resting, waiting, weeping, wanting words. Barbed wire and refugees. Barbed wire on the Hungarian border, barbed wire at Calais, spikes to repel humanity who fail to drown at sea. Barbed wire where refugees must pass as they flee war, children running from war, children screaming for parents. Another child drowns yesterday. He lies in his father's arms, his photo on the cover of the Wall Street Journal. We start wars, we create enemies. We bomb villages and cities, but we do not rescue the mass of humanity suffering from those wars. Germany stands alone, recognizing its own laws demanding justice for the abused, asylum for the persecuted. Japan refuses to assist in war, obeying its own laws of peace after fighting a terrible war. We Yankees have created refugees from our own wars. We should send our armies to save the victims of our wars, to save the children from drowning, to keep families together, to protect those huddled masses we have created. with our wars. A lone child deserves life without war, deserves compassion. Wars taught us to practice. Wars made us forget.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Karen, the Lander Review. All right, that brings us to Marco Harps doing a 30 up here, and then we'll take care of the prizes, and then we'll take care of other.
All right, so Ruby interrupted myself. I was saying that John Kennedy's favorite poem was "I Have a Rendezvous with Death." Well, I put on the one-eyed glasses in the spirit of sharing a home. One of the people I share the home with has no sight in one eye, so who the hell am I to say I can't read with one eye? I have a rendezvous with death. Alan Seeger wrote it, written during World War I. He born 1888 and he died 1916. Pretty young. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade. When spring comes round with rustling shade and apple blossoms fill the air. I have a rendezvous with death when spring brings back blue days and fair. It may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land, and close my eyes and quench my breath. It may be I shall pass him still. I have a rendezvous with death on some scarred slope of battered hill, when spring comes round again this year, and the first meadow flowers appear. God knows 'twere better to be deep, pillowed in silk and scented down, where love throbs out in blissful sleep, pulse night to pulse and breath to breath, where hushed awakenings are dear. But I've a rendezvous with death at midnight in some flaming town, when spring trips north again this year, and I to my pledged word am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous. Thank you for
Thank you so much. I'm glad we had the time to do that. Get that in there. Thank you, Mark. This is the point where we just take care of the door prizes. The next sacred is on January 6th, and I'm going to be the feature because a lot of times when I did this, very few people would pick the first date in January, so I'm doing that. Hopefully I'll have my manuscript ready, the book will be in my hand, but we don't know. Anyway, a few of the prizes. Choosing next week's theme, the mini feature, keynote, and then we have Days I Move Through Ordinary Sound. And this is a collection of stuff from the Southern SPLC, and information, maps, and stuff like that. So when I put money into that, they send me things like this. And we have Sally's book. Also, a translation by Clara Sue here. And I will take these cards in hand. If you would kind of just shuffle them, just cut them once. And we'll go through a few of those, and then I guess it'll be Arrivederci roll until such time as. Did you want to read maybe? Oh, I just want to make sure. I didn't get a chance to ask. Okay, the first drum roll, please. Just take care of that. Yeah, we have a jazzer out there. Oh, Stephanie Manning, but I think she flew. Okay. Oh, this would be David. Hey! David.
All right.
How well we know this man.
Where's he going by these days? David?
David.
Oh. Hi, David.
Hi, Coyote.
What would you like?
You can call me Turtle Old Man.
Hi, Turtle Old Man.
You're the one I ride.
That's right.
What would you like?
Well, I think I'll do the keynote, and I'll just give you another Indian. Is doing another Indian Tales okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm saying that. Don't go by what I say. Just. All right. Thank you so much for the. See. All right. The drum roll. Then we have Mr. Sanderell of all people.
All right. I'll take the keynote.
No, it's already
Okay, we already got the keynote. You want to be the mini?
Oh no, I don't want to be the mini.
I'll be the mini. You can have the keynote.
Okay, we'll go ahead and see.
All right.
Now, I wrote it in ink, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so David, you're the mini?
No, I don't want to be a hog.
I'll be the ninny.
And then Sanderell will be the...
I really wanted Claire Sue's book. I was torn.
Torn.
Torn. I was torn. I was ripped.
Ripped.
I was ripped.
Buford.
I want
Your stuff is great, thank you.
Clara
Thank
Sue's
you.
book, there you go.
I appreciate you bringing
Oh,
I appreciate
Clara
you
Sue.
bringing legends
Clara Sue.
and folk stories.
Thank you.
It's just
And you're welcome.
very important that we not lose them. Very important that we not lose them.
Yes.
Which one?
Oh, Garrett Murphy.
There's only one Garrett. There's more than one Garrett. Hey,
Oh,
Garrett.
sorry.
Well, maybe he was speaking of a G-A-R-R-O-T-E, see?
Yes, I understand that.
I think that's what they were
That's
saying.
the third double entendre.
Well, you know, in the spirit of
G-A-R-R-E-T.
piano strings and all that. Oh, that's what a garrote is technically made from.
Mark, you're next.
Pardon you?
You're the next winner.
Oh, well, I'm a sinner and a winner. That's the way it be in this wild world.
Look out.
And then we have Mr. Pond.
All right.
But I'm after Mr. Hart, right?
What? Oh yeah, Mr. Harps, then Mr. Pond.
Now I can blatantly self-promote and say, not self-promote, but say, get a hatch beat. Because there used to be a paper for the Haight-Ashbury Journal, not the Journal, but another newspaper, which was called what? Nobody even remembers, do they? I didn't think so.
I do, but my brain's dead.
But it's gone. It's not here anymore, for us. I know I had something in there a while back.
Okay. They're over there.
Go get it if you want. It's free. What am I winning?
Over there. They're
What?
behind you.
What is it?
The prizes.
Thanks.
There you go.
I don't want any of them because I have too many books now. So
All right.
I appreciate
That's fine.
the
We
offer.
understand.
I'll bring some in next time.
Now it's Mr.
Just
Pond.
thought I'd warn you, I'm gonna bring a pile of
And then
them.
Mr. Capel, who's not here, so we can go back and ask Mr.
He
Howell.
snuck out, didn't he?
Huh?
Yeah,
He snuck out, didn't he?
Ah, well, some people do.
Very good.
everybody. After the second half, you're lucky if you get a laugh.
There are a lot of newspapers that have gotten lost.
Isn't
Left,
that-
what was the one, Left? Left Press, Left?
Left coast, I'm not sure. They
Left.
have something, I know, left field. Yeah, I know.
Jack
You
Hirsch
can
was
left out.
putting it out.
Yes.
And Out of Four, I think that's gone now.
Bunch of them, yep.
Oh, yeah.
All righty, Didy.
One away one.
Uh-huh.
Karen,
I'm
if you
starting
would
a
like
newspaper
one,
with Jack.
or you can tell us, if you want to tell us what the theme is.
No, because I'm going to
College
be,
professor.
I'm going to be in
Great position.
Working.
San Diego.
Tempe.
All right, thank you.
Got the newspaper.
And now I have these two still here. Just anybody who wants to take care of Southern Public Law Center or Yoga of the Impossible. These are waiting for anybody who decides to have those.
I think what yoga is.
An idea for a theme?
How is it possible to have yoga of the impossible?
What day is it?
January 6th.
A theme for you,
Well, a theme for the evening.
January 6th.
Nobody is.